You wrote a bad spoiler warning, Petey. Now give it here. The following podcast contains spoilers for the movie Fantastic Mr. Fox. You have been warned.
Welcome to Diabolical, the show where four long-suffering friends compete to improve film's most dastardly schemes. I'm your host, Craig, and this week's movie is 2009's Fantastic Mr. Fox. So, dodge the grabbers, duck the taggers, jump the twig basket, and let's get diabolical. Hotbox! Welcome to the first Diabolical of 2023.
Happy New Year, everybody!
As host for this week, I'm chairing the panel of peril, who will compete against me at the close of the show to come up with the best alternative plan for the movie villain of the week, before we vote to name this week's most diabolical. When I say your name, please respond with your Latin name and special skill. For example, I'm Craig. Latin name, Bubo-Virginianus domesticus. Special skill, perfect tea and toast every time. And I'm joined by Lord Manly Supreme.
Hello, I'm Lord Manly Supreme, and my Latin name is Prochorus Ambustus, and my special skill is avoiding velvet.
Gaz.
My Latin name is Gazicus Anus, and my special skill is putting work off to the last minute so that I get really, really stressed about having to finish it on time.
You should have called yourself Procrastinus Maximus then.
Procrastinanus. Turner.
Hello, I'm Adam, and my Latin name is Turdus Maximus, and my special power is crushing all those that oppose me.
Nice. I forgot to write down what Bubo-Virginianus is, so I can't remember what animal that is, but that's a real animal.
Mine is a real animal as well. Turdus Maximus is the greater thrush.
Oh.
Mine is not a real animal. Mine means leader of the dance.
What's the difference between Turner and Thrush? Nothing. They're both irritating cunts.
Dance, dance, wherever you may be. I am the Lord of the dance, said he. And I lead you all, wherever you may be. And I lead you all in the dance, said he.
Did I lie? No lies detected. Fantastic Mr. Fox is, of course, based on the beloved book by Roald Dahl. So we can get to know each other a bit better, please share with us, other than Fantastic Mr. Fox, what is your favourite film or television adaptation of a Roald Dahl story? Adam.
Well, I'm suspecting I won't be the only one who picks this, but it has to be 1990, The Witches, which is produced by Jim Henson. It's dark, it's scary, it's got loads of endlessly quotable stuff that I still talk about now.
What do witches work with, Ben?
Spoons.
Sorry, what do witches work with, Lord Manly Supreme?
Witches work only if it's magic. The child is no longer a child. The child is a mouse.
Thanks to these two idiots, I cannot walk through a supermarket without telling somebody that I do not like cockaliki, I like cress. Gareth?
I don't really have one, to be honest.
No.
Similar thing to saying about Moonraker, that I didn't really watch many films when I was younger. My filmic references when I was young are Ghostbusters and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and that's pretty much it.
Mm-hmm.
And we've established Rocky Horror Picture Show.
Yeah.
That came a bit later. I don't think I've seen Witches the whole way through, and I probably couldn't name another adaptation, to be honest, apart from the BFG. So I guess by process of elimination, I'll just say the BFG. Steven Spielberg's one, even though it's not very good.
Interesting. Maybe I'll come back to you, Gareth, after we find out what Lord Manly Supreme's favourite Roald Dahl adaptation is.
Mine is the same as Turner's. It's The Witches. I absolutely love it. But a close second, and it's neither TV nor film, is the Matilda musical that I saw in London. It was
Tim
fantastic.
Minchin.
Yeah.
Now adapted for the screen.
Yeah, I haven't got round to watching it, but it is on the list.
Well, I've got to say I'm surprised that nobody said Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. I was sure somebody...
Yeah, it's a close second, but
I love it.
The Witch is just that little bit darker, and I like the darkness in the Roald Dahl novels, and the adaptation for that is superb. But yeah, Gene Wilder, absolutely incredible, and it's just a brilliant movie as well.
Yeah. As for me, my favourite screen adaptation of a Roald Dahl story after Fantastic Mr. Fox is 1996's Matilda, produced by and starring Daniel DeVito. Time now to delve into this week's film and its year of release. In world events of 2009, Russia cuts off gas supplies to Europe via Ukraine. Wait, what year is this? Okay, that's right. The World Health Organization declares a global pandemic. Hang on. Is this? No, yeah, okay. Yeah, it's swine flu. Yeah. And paleontologists announced the discovery of Ardipithecus ramidus, the oldest fossilized remains of a human ancestor yet found. Its special skill was increased monogamy and parental care. 2009's Fantastic Mr. Fox explores these themes, which recur throughout the oeuvre of director Wes Anderson, building upon and expanding Roald Dahl's story, inspired partly by unused ideas for the supermarket-based ending from his original manuscript. The stop-motion animated film uses, among other things, meticulous set design, lighting, and forced perspective to perfectly realise the doll's house aesthetic to which Anderson's work had been building, and the screenplay is full of Anderson's trademark warmth and whimsy, performed with authenticity by a perfect cast of megastars and relative unknowns. The film on release was critically praised, but underwhelmed at the box office, alongside gorgeous Studio Ghibli animation Ponyo. Better performing animated and children's features that year included fellow book adapt for grown-up kids Spike Jonze's Where the Wild Things Are, Astro Boy, Coraline, Alvin and the Chipmunks The Squeakquel, Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs, Ice Age Dawn of the Dinosaurs, Monsters vs. Aliens, Pixar's Up, and the re-release of Toy Story. But what did you make of Fantastic Mr. Fox, Lord Manley?
It's just a great film. The source material is fantastic. There's a laugh there, guys.
Apparently.
Thank you.
I see.
The source material is just great anyway. And then when you couple that with Wes Anderson's sensibilities, you just get something that's so fun and the perfect antidote to everything else that's going on in the world. Just takes you away into this kind of fantasy world. It's great.
Yeah, I think it might be my favourite film of his. It's kind of peak Wes Anderson. It's the control it gave him to make the kind of film that he wants to make, I think works really well.
Yeah.
I say the source material blends really well with the kind of thing that he does.
Yeah.
Which you might not think of any sort of children's book after you've seen the first few of his films, but yeah, for me it really works. What about you, Gaz? What do you think?
Yeah, it's good. I think I prefer on I Love Dogs on balance. I think it's stretched a bit thin for me. The story, it's basically just a series of very small heists, one after the other, held together by quite a big theme, I suppose, with Foxy trying to sort of accept his responsibilities in life and not want to be the lone wolf that he sees at the end.
Yeah.
It's very good. I think maybe 60 minutes is probably a better runtime for it personally.
Maybe. Theme is kind of king with Wes Anderson, right? So a lot of his movies are not plot heavy and they're like a series of vignettes. I think that's been displayed very overtly with The French Dispatch.
Yeah.
I don't think he cares a lot about plot and he's more interested in character and family dynamics.
And actually the book is a very short book anyway.
Yeah.
So you're never going to get like a full kind of 90 minutes out of the book itself, which is why he's taken liberties.
The ending is actually all the like stuff from the motorcycle and all that kind of stuff that getting washed away by side is all specific to the film. It doesn't actually happen in the book. So that's where you get the extra time. Yeah,
the book ends with his toast. Yeah. I think that's great though, because that ending for the book does feel a bit in the film when you get to that point, you feel like he hasn't really learned anything.
Yeah.
But then the film goes, okay, he's going to learn his lesson now. Yeah. And it takes that extra step to make it more satisfying.
Yeah. I thought pacing-wise, it just bounced along, and straight away, for me, I thought of my little boy, and I thought, I'm going to get him to watch it when we go home. I'm sure he'll love it because it's got that silly sort of slapstick kind of humour, and it's quick. I think it keeps you pretty interested most of the time. I kind of agree with what Gaz says. I think it could have probably been a little bit shorter for me, but I think for kids, it's a good length for them. And I can imagine Eli watching it over and over and over again. But again, it's the details. For me, the whole film was visualized according to like the original artist that did the book for Roald Dahl, which is I think Donald Chaffin.
Yeah.
And it was stylized on his illustrations, and then finding out that Wes Anderson has been a fan of the book since he was a kid, and he's still got the very same book he had as a kid. Basically, you can imagine being that kid, getting that book and thinking, I'd love to make this a film one day, and him actually getting it to do it as well. And he does it, and you can see he's just gone, I'm going to take the book, put it onto the big screen and transfer all that love he has for it himself, and do it. And it's unbelievable. And that was the big thing for me. It's just the attention and care and enthusiasm and all the little things for the production and stuff. It's unbelievable. And that, again, it amplifies the impact it had on me, because I did enjoy it. But then when I realised how much of a fan Wes Anderson was of Roald Dahl, I just like, wow, this is probably his magnus opus, isn't it, really?
Yeah, it's funny because apparently the director of photography wasn't massively keen on Wes Anderson's working process on this. He directed it from home when he was living in Paris.
Yeah.
He directed it via email, quite a lot of it. But his stamp is all over it, so he must have just trusted his meticulous kind of storyboarding. And
at one time he had I think it was 28 or 29 different production units working at one single time.
Yeah.
I was like, how the hell is he doing that? And then I was reading about he wasn't just getting the actors to record in a sound booth or in a studio. He was getting them to record in open spaces.
Yeah.
I think he would get them to record in a tunnel at one point. This is a man going to lengths because he's obviously hearing all this stuff in his head and going, this is how we must do it to recreate what I want. And fantastic attention to detail.
Yeah, there is some footage out there of the cast, especially Clooney, recording in outdoor spaces. And one of the scenes, the audio was ruined by a boat in the background. So they added an aeroplane to the stop motion animation so that they didn't have to replace the audio, which I think is really cool because I just love that take so much.
That's cool, isn't it?
Yeah, I like that.
I've got to say, when I first started, this is the first time I watched it, and when I first started watching, I was like, I don't know. I didn't take to George Clooney straight away as the Fox, but then he kind of grew on me after I got into the character a little bit, and I thought, no, he's played it really well, actually.
I love the intro, how they introduce him. It's just him and Mrs. Fox.
Yeah.
They lay it right out from the start. There's two options. And she says, let's take this one, it's safer. And he goes, oh, this one is a little bit shorter, dangerous way. And then you just know right from the start that this is his character, and you're right in with it. It's great.
Yeah, no, that is brilliant economy of exposition. Because, like you say, the whole of that sequence when they get caught because he wants to prove that he knows the trap and he gets it all wrong. And then him, when she tells him she's pregnant and wants him to give up his life of crime, the way he bares his teeth while he's talking.
Yeah, I think Wes Anderson and the whole cast and production crew and stuff were quite unlucky with this movie, the way that it fell. Because obviously, like you mentioned Where the Wild Things Are and Up before. It was released 2 days after Where the Wild Things Are. It lost out at every single award to Up.
Yeah.
And then it had a couple of other big movies to compete with that year as well. And it just came I think it came out with again, it was one of these, I don't know, I don't think it was rushed, but I just think the way it came out was bad timing. I think similar to like Big Trouble in Little China that we've already discussed, that had a bit of a rush job, but it was bad timing for them as well. So I think it would have done a lot better, and maybe it would have been, I think, maybe a more discussed movie. Because when you came up with it the other week, I was like, oh, that's a bit left field, and I'd never seen it before. And sure enough, I think it's a really good film.
Yeah,
it's just a shame that it hasn't had the coverage it should have done.
one of the reasons that I picked it, because I watch it a lot and I know that it's not, I knew that it flopped when it came out and that it's not talked about a lot. I think it suffered from an identity crisis and people weren't sure who it was for. Wes Anderson's films were already like deeply idiosyncratic and he already had kind of a following. Him doing a kids film that from the trailers was very clearly a Wes Anderson film. Like you got the sense from the trailer that this was like another Royal Tenenbaums, and that was probably compounded by the fact that Spike Jonze was making Where the Wild Things Are, which was a kid's book that, to my memory, no kid had been interested in for about 20 years at that point.
Yeah.
So it was very clearly being made for
always
adults.
around.
Yeah. But like, for instance, I had never read it. Maybe it's bigger in America, but...
Yeah, I'd never read it either.
That's the thing with Roald Dahl as well. I think he's got much more... He's held in much more greater terms of endearment in the UK than he is in the US, for sure, anyway.
Yeah.
And they've persevered.
He's Welsh.
Yeah. Yeah, he's born in Llandaff.
Big up the Llandaff Massive. I was fortunate to see the real models close up. They were fantastic. Again, just the detail on them. I could have just stood there out for hours looking at them. They were just so great.
They're slightly macabre looking to me. They're almost like taxidermy.
Yeah, a little bit, yeah.
Yeah.
There's something slightly creepy about them to me, particularly in the close-ups of, like you were saying before, of him baring his teeth. Like staring.
Yeah, that's a bit. It is
I find
a bit
it slightly disconcerting, that shot.
Yeah, I've grown to love it. But yeah, they're made with real hair, and that means with stop motion animation, particularly at this frame rate, which is a lower frame rate than 24. I can't remember, but it's like intentionally low frame rate.
23. In the original King Kong, the reviews, the 1930s version, one of the reviewers said the effects are so amazing that you can see King Kong's hairs moving around when it was just the puppeteers manipulating the puppets. So they took quite a lot of credit for something quite accidental.
Yeah, I bet Wes Anderson knew that and had that in mind because it was his idea that they have real hair. And all the human puppets have real hair as well. So, like, I think Petey has Jarvis Cocker's real hair. Like a little bit of it.
That'd be amazing if that's true.
His song is great.
Yeah.
Yeah. He was originally the narrator.
Yeah.
But test audiences didn't like it. So, got removed.
Yes, he got demoted. But you're saying about the rest of the cast, it's like star-studded. There's three Oscar winners and 8 Oscar nominees. So it's like... It's a looking at that, it's on black and white. It's a heavy hitting film, really, isn't it? If you were just to read out the name of the people there.
Yeah, but what I love is alongside these Oscar winners, you get people like in big roles, like Kylie is Wally Wolodarski, who was a Simpsons writer and producer.
They hold their own, don't they?
Yeah, brilliantly.
You couldn't say there was a bad performance in there, really.
Yeah, like the guy who plays Kristofferson as well, I hadn't heard of before this.
Yeah.
And he's very, very good.
I enjoyed Michael Jambon as Bean.
Yeah, he's fantastic.
That's how he prefers to pronounce it, by the way.
Jambon.
Yeah.
Is that just ham?
Yeah.
Obviously, Willem Dafoe as the rat.
Oh, that was one of my favourite scenes, the first time you meet him in the cider cellar.
Yeah.
I love it. It's so stylized, like a 50s movie almost. You see the bad kid in the leather jacket with the flick knife.
Yeah.
It was so good.
Yeah, West Side Story, isn't it? The sideways clips.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Eric Chase Anderson plays Kristofferson. He's Wes Anderson's brother. So.
Oh, yeah.
That is
nepotism.
Probably one of my favourite performances in the film, is what I was going to say.
Beautiful nepotism, baby.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, very, very apt. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just brilliant.
I've just like to share one of my notes. It's just a one-word note, and it simply says Gambon.
It's pronounced Jambon. It's like Christophe Lambert. He prefers to call it Jambon. Michael Jambon.
Christophe Jambert.
Christophe Jambert.
Yeah, but as soon as I heard him, I was like, he's another guy. Here he is.
Yeah, he was great.
Yeah, just love hearing his voice straight away.
And Brian Cox doing the reporter.
Yeah, I've got him down as well. I was like, nice little cameo for him as well. Brilliant.
Yeah.
It's just a film that keeps on giving. Really is.
Anybody got any favourite moments or lines?
My favourite moment, I can't remember whether we recorded it last week, but as soon as Craig said we're doing Fantastic Mr. Fox, I went, here we go with the symmetrical shots and the corduroy, forgetting how it starts. And it's like, Jesus Christ, these aerial shots of the field are brown corduroy. I was like, holy shit, this is unbelievable.
Not only are they brown corduroy, they are from Wes Anderson's Taylor.
Yeah, that's it, yeah. They actually took samples, didn't they, and just said, hey, can you give me some of this? And you went, there you go.
Yeah. Wes Anderson knows who he is and what he is. He's not ashamed.
I know. I was reading some of the trivia behind that, and I thought that's absolutely nuts. Even the clothing the characters wear as well, isn't it? They're all Wes Anderson suits.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Absolutely amazing. Loved it. That's another thing that just kept piling on the respect I've got for this movie. So
my favourite piece of wardrobe, though, has to be Ash's bandit hat at the end with the stars on it. It's fucking awesome and cutest moment in the movie. I love that.
My kind of highlight throughout the film, and it comes a few times, is Kylie's blank look. Gets me every single time.
Yeah.
But the first one is so good.
yeah.
Yeah, with the swirly eyes. I also love how when characters die, they have the X eyes, like Gaz's drawing that he did.
I might have stolen that off you, Gaz.
Or vice versa.
No, Wes Anderson went into the future, saw Gaz's drawing, and then went back and made that.
Of course he did. He got the T-1000 to come into the future, steal it off Gaz and take it back to him.
No. Wes Anderson uses the power of symmetry to travel through time and space. He's mastered the power of symmetry.
Mastering the power of symmetry also gives you the ability to travel through space and time.
Oh, yeah, keep it under your hat, that.
My favourite bit is the sequence with the wolf, and they're just sitting on the motorbike and they're looking at the wolf and they're like, hey, and it's like...
The music in that bit, it plays in my head like weekly, and I think about that moment a lot. By the way, score by Alexandre Desplat. Fucking phenomenal.
That's great, isn't it? That bit, and in the end, you just think the wolf's just going to stand there, and he's like, not, and then he just goes, sticks his hand up in a salute, and he's like, yes! I literally went, yes! Great, loved it. Yeah.
It's where it comes in the film as well. You've just had all this tension, excitement, and it's just this moment of serenity. It's it's brilliant.
And it's Foxy accepting what he is, isn't it? The lone wolf
Yeah.
runs off to be a lone wolf, and he's like, well, that's not me. I'm off with my friends and family. He accepts his actual nature.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I also like the bits where at random points they get, is it Fox and Kylie when they go on the electric fence, they're getting electrocuted, and then the Rat and Fox having a fight in the Transformer room and all that as well. I love that kind of animation of the electrocution and stuff like that. It's wicked.
Yeah, brilliant.
We mentioned the cider scene earlier.
Yeah.
But there's a part in that just makes me howl, and that's when Mr. Fox is contorted in the same shape as a cider bottle. It's amazing. It just looks so uncomfortable, but it's great.
And then Kristofferson talking about her vision, not being able to see. That's really funny.
Yeah.
Anybody got any favourite lines of dialogue?
I do. Badger, when they're formulating the plan at the end. I haven't written down the line that precedes it. I'm assuming someone must say, any idea what to do? So Badger says, well, I guess we should split into a certain number of groups and start doing something. Right?
Yeah, there is no prompt line for that. He just says it.
Does he?
Yeah.
I'll follow them because mine is also from Badger. It's when they're going around listing their skills. And Badger goes, demolitions expert.
Yeah.
And Mr. Fox goes, what? Since when?
Yeah, that's fantastic.
I particularly like Look at you, girl. You're still as fine looking as a creme brulee.
Yeah.
Oh, perfect.
Most of my favourite lines come from Ash. First one early on. You're supposed to be my lab partner. You're disloyal. Disloyal is such a funny thing to say to somebody.
It's so cutting.
Yeah. And then someone's like, what's that? And he goes, what's what? Oh, that? That's nothing. Just some old trophy I won for being an athlete. Just put it on the table.
Yeah.
But my favourite moment and line is when he says to his mother, Felicity, but I'm not different, am I? And she says, we all are, especially him, and points to Foxy.
She's got a few great lines as well, yeah.
Yeah, that's such like a genuine moment, though. It's really lovely. I love it.
There's another one from her that she says, if what I think is happening, it better not be.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
There's a great Kylie bit as well, which is a reference to Rebel Without a Cause, where Foxy and Felicity are having an argument, and he's like, stop, you say one thing, she says another, then it all changes back again. It's delivered really well.
As we're talking about Kylie, you know, the character Kylie was inserted and based on somebody in Wes Anderson's life when he moved into his flat or apartment, and there was a handyman living there called Kylie, yeah. And eventually Wes Anderson had to kick him out.
No way.
Yeah, because he didn't move out when Wes Anderson moved in, just stayed there.
He inherited him from the previous owner, so he stayed there for a while, and then eventually he went, nah, get out. It's great. I know there's so many things about this film in the production and stuff that I love. It's brilliant.
Okay, we're going to be trying out a brand new game this week. 2 truths and a lie. I'll explain the rules as you won't be familiar with them. I'll tell 2 true facts about Roald Dahl and 1 lie, and all you'll need to do is identify the lie. Fact number 1. When given only 6 weeks to salvage the screenplay adaptation of his friend Ian Fleming's novel You Only Live Twice, Dahl expressed concern that the book had no plot whatsoever, and frantically offered several rejected ideas, including a scene in which Blofeld would torture 007 by imprisoning him in a room in which the furnishings were all placed upside down, an idea he would later recycle for his book The Twits. Fact number 2. The section of the 1995 anthology film 4 Rooms, which was written and directed by Quentin Tarantino, was based on a short story by Roald Dahl called The Man from the South, which had previously been adapted for both Tales of the Unexpected and Alfred Hitchcock Presents. Fact number 3. At the time of his death, Dahl had completed the first chapter of a sequel to Charlie and the Chocolate Factory called Charlie in the White House, which sees Willy Wonka and Charlie Bucket meeting the President of the United States. So one of those facts is a lie.
The first one's the fake.
And the other 2 are true. Skaz is going with fact number 1.
Is that the Bond one?
The Bond one.
That sounded a bit fishy to me too.
Fishy.
I'm going to say the last one's a fake.
The last one. So 2 of you went for fact number 1 as the lie. 1 of you went for fact number 3. Nobody, interestingly, picked fact number 2. And the lie was fact number 1.
Oh.
Yeah.
I knew about the third one, to be fair.
You should have eliminated yourself from the competition. In all fairness, you should have held your hands up and said,
Yeah.
I can't in good conscience win this. I've never done that in my life, and I'll never, ever do it.
You're not about to start cheating now. Well, you know what I'm going to call you? Cheater, dog pooier. Or worse.
Or worse.
Fantastic Mr. Fox sees the sly protagonist court the wrath of farmers Boggis, Bunce and Bean and his own wife Felicity as he breaks his promise to leave behind his life of crime and carry out one last 3-part heist with the aid of his athlete nephew Kristofferson and a possum handyman Kylie, in an act of midlife crisis that leads to a reconciliation of the differences between those 2 wolves we all have inside. Out for revenge, Boggis, Bunce and Bean vow to kill Foxy by any and all means necessary, while protecting their produce, keeping both a rabid beagle and a psychotic rat to act as watchmen, while they throw spaghetti at the wall, attempting several failed strategies for fox killing, including shooting Foxy, razing his tree home and the cave system beneath it, starving the animals out of hiding, flushing them out of the flint mine with a tsunami of cider, and finally, waiting forever and ever at a sewer manhole to ambush the animals. So, what did we think of their scheme? Lord Manly Supreme, what's the Brox?
We're thinking middle of the road Brox.
Mm-hmm.
I think their ideas were good. I think they were the ideas that most farmers would go to, especially with the guns, perhaps with the diggers as well.
Yeah.
But it wasn't anything spectacular. So I'm giving them a solid 7 florets of broccoli.
Fair.
You can add Necco there if you like.
That
or
is
not.
very middle of the road.
I don't know, is this one going to fall to me? Or are you reminding yourself to add an echo? Whichever one of us.
I think I do odd numbers. Don't I? Note to self, add echo to broccoli.
Gals, what did you make of their diabolical plot?
It's quite ineffectual, isn't it? It's what was the other film where I was saying, "Oh, fuck that up! What? Fuck that up!" No, like Ben said,
I was standing on the rakes.
Yeah. Sideshow Bob.
Yeah.
It is stuff that a farmer would do, in all fairness, but I just think that an actual farmer would probably be more effective, and I'm pretty sure my beagle would catch Foxy and rip him to shreds quite sharpish. Just set the beagle on him. That's not my plan.
How have you trained your dog to be so nasty?
It's wired into them.
Right into a minute.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The hound dogs.
Ain't nothing but a hound dog eating blueberries all the time.
Speaking of blueberries, while I was doing my 3 truths and a lie thing, I found a plot synopsis for Charlie in the White House. And one of the things they said was that Wonka was Wonkifying America. So you build unmeltable chocolate houses for the homeless and turn US soldiers into bouncing blueberries. But it turned out that it was just some bullshit someone had made up and not anything Roald Dahl had written. So after writing loads of stuff about it, I was like, oh, fuck.
Fell into the old blueberry trap, did you?
Imagine that coming over the top. Just a row of bouncing blueberries.
Yeah.
The fear you must feel seeing them charge towards you, screaming.
Well, the worst thing you can do when you have blueberries in your possession is fall into a pit of gorillas, isn't it? As we well know from Team America World Police, his brother fell into a gorilla's enclosure with blueberries in his pocket.
You got anything to add to that, Turner? Any thoughts on their plot?
Like similar to what Gav said, they've used the similar farmer tricks, but I would have thought the farmers, after a couple of goes, they would have gone, right, this is not working. This fox is basically like the fox equivalent of Einstein. So how the fuck are we going to get ourselves rid of this little fucker? And there's your quote.
He's fucking nailing it every week in, week out. Okay, now regular as clockwork.
Well, he is, isn't he? He's, no farmers encountered a fox as smart as this guy, and they just bang their heads against a brick wall essentially by using the same old things. I think what Gaz said there about beagles is true. I think the beagles are well underused, and the only time a beagle is introduced and it actually poses a danger, it's Mr. Fox that does it. He's his own worst enemy in that case.
Right. Apart from the cider thing, they're all lifted right out of the book, right? So I think a lot of the reason that all of these things are the things that they do and fail the way they do is because Roald Dahl really didn't like people like that. He didn't like hunters. He didn't like inhumane killing of animals. In terms of the subtext of the story, he had, by this point, he'd lost one child to I think measles, and another had water on the brain. So that whole side of it, the family side of it was to do with that. But all the stuff to do with the farmers, I think he just really didn't like those classes of people. So
it's good. That's another element to it, isn't it? It's very, very pro Fox, pro pro life, if you want, really, I suppose. Yeah, it's definitely, that's all over it. And well, I remember it from the book anyway. It definitely being from a fox's standpoint, rather than, you read books when you're a kid and it's always the fox is a baddie.
Yeah.
The gingerbread man, he gets eaten by the fox, doesn't he? As he crosses the river on the fox's back. Right. And he gets him to move up onto his head and stuff like that. And then the chicken licking gets eaten by the fox. Fox's fox den, isn't it? Yeah. So and all that, and this is it stands apart nicely there, doesn't it?
Tails in Sonic.
He's a goodie.
He's evil.
Yeah.
He's not evil, is he? He's a prick, isn't he?
Yeah, he's just trying to steal Sonic's thunder, isn't he?
Sonic. This is the part of the show where the panel of peril compete for the title of this week's Most Diabolical. Up for grabs is 2 points for the winner, which will go towards the series leaderboard. As host this week, I'm at home advantage, so if my plan wins, though, I only get 1 point.
Ha.
Boggis, Bunce and Bean wanted to kill the fantastic Mr. Fox, and they tried various ways to do it, but they failed. So, what would you have done differently, Adam?
Ooh. He's a wily old fox, Mr. Fox, constantly thinking outside the box. Whether it's drugging a beagle or poor Smeagol, his favourite apple is a Cox. Boom.
That it?
Say no more. Quit while you're ahead.
Yeah, true story. Boggis, Bunce and Bean, who shall henceforth be called Triple B, cannot rid themselves of Mr. Fox by conventional farming methods. Triple B should use some more experimental means, namely biological and chemical warfare.
Fucking mustard gas in Mr. Fox.
Bit overkill.
But not in the way you expect. They begin working on making large sheds on each of their farms, telling the locals and media outlets they will simply outproduce the losses they are making due to the interventions of the fox. However, that's not entirely accurate. While Triple B do intend to increase the size of their flocks, that is not necessarily in a numerical sense. No, instead, they employ the services of a renowned chemical scientist, George Cranky, who has had a remarkable career since creating a medicine for his horrid grandmother at the age of 8 years old, which he first tested on his father's chickens. Recreating his miraculous medicine for Triple B, but with a few tweaks here and there. Next time Mr. Fox visits the farms, curious to see what Triple B have been up to, he breaks into one of the new sheds. Inside the huge shed, there isn't thousands upon thousands of delicious chickens ripe for the eating. Nope, you've guessed it. There are 20-metre-high chickens, rippling with muscles. Mr. Fox soils himself on the spot. As he turns to run, the chickens react with lightning speed and pounce on him with their huge claws. The largest chicken, we'll call him Keith, mocks Mr. Fox as he squeezes him in his clutches. For too long you foxes have been scoffing my kind and suffered no consequences, other than the occasional bout of indigestion, which was your own fault. The time of the chicking has come. With that, Keith chucks Mr. Fox in the air, and he and his missus, Marjorie, grab an end each and pull Mr. Fox apart, spilling his entrails onto the floor. With Fox dead and his friends and family scared off by their mutant chickens, Triple B can resume their farming without hinder. Shortly after Mr. Fox meets his demise at the beaks of the chickens, Triple B detonates explosives embedded within the foundations of their large sheds to prevent the giant chickens embarking on a wave of indiscriminate terror across the globe.
My question to you is, in the news recently has been the freakish muscly chickens that Lidl have been producing and selling. are these little chickens?
No, I was like, I toyed with a few ideas. I was going to go down the route of gentrification of an area, actually, because he's at the start of the film. He's keen on leveling up, isn't he, and buying himself a better house and stuff like that. And I was like, oh,
hates being poor.
Maybe I'll make him a nice house and stuff like that. But then I thought, no, how can I fight Dahl with Dahl? And that's when I took old George and his...
Fight Dahl with Dahl.
That's it.
That's like, you want to kill Roald Dahl, you make him a really spicy curry. Fucks it up.
It seems Dahl has been killed by the very Dahl that he has eaten.
I only had one question, and it was, when the chicken was speaking, did he refer to himself as the Chick King? With a G on the end, like the king of chickens.
No, but if I do a rewrite, that will definitely be included. Yeah, thank you for that.
I think I improved it. I heard Chick King and I thought, oh yeah.
I'll put written by Adam Turner, screenplay by Adam Turner and Craig Morris. Just because that.
So my only comments are, would the chickens, would they know to attack the fox? Or would they rather be wandering around their giant sheds going, why am I so massive?
I was wondering if somebody was going to bring that up. Good for you, Ben.
Well, I was thinking about Partridge when you said it, but I couldn't remember any of the lines.
It kind of inspired me because I thought I can get two for the price of one. Then I can get like a Partridge-ish reference, and hopefully somebody will say something, which somebody has.
Yeah.
And then, but I can get in another Dahl novel as well. So I was like, it's win-win essentially.
I did wonder if anybody would rope in any other Dahl novels, because that was my first train of thought as well. So
my other comment was, you mentioned the chicken's claws, famously. The chickens have large talons.
Well, when they're 20 meters high, they could easily grab a fox.
Talons. The chickens have large talons.
I don't know. They're not talons, are they? They're just because they've got talons, haven't they? Got
He's
like retractable
doing Napoleon
claws.
Dynamite. Fucking hell, Turner.
I haven't seen that film in a long time. Sorry.
Well, maybe it'll come up.
It's a family favourite.
Who would be the villain in Napoleon Dynamite? Uncle Rico.
Yeah, that's why I haven't picked it, sadly.
Uncle Rico throwing that steak at him when he's riding his bike.
Jesus.
But that's already perfect because he hits him.
Yeah.
So, Uncle Rico wanted to knock Napoleon off his bike. Well, he did.
That'd be our first 13-point plan, I think.
Okay, Lord Manly Supreme, can we have your plan next, please?
Oh, you can. So, after several weeks of planning involving chocolate ice cream and cannibalism, or hoodwinking miners into midnight trips to graveyards, I spent up to 12 minutes wrestling with my conscience over this one. Could I really bring myself to execute something as charming and downright lovable as Mr. Fox? And if I didn't, what would the panel of Peril and our Peril pals think of me? Especially as you've all come to expect a certain level of cold, calculating brilliance from me. Hey, but that's my cross to bear. I wandered the streets with my own fox-like dog at my side, agonizing over the decision. How could I, a human, kill a poor Foxy Woxy? And then it hit me. Human. Humane. Eureka! Making appropriate use of my smart telephone, I onlined and then search engined for the worldwide website of the Humane Society. Here's what I discovered. If you need a fox family to move, here are a few humane harassment options. Tip 1. Place urine-soaked kitty litter or a sweat-soaked t-shirt in or near the den opening. So I would immediately fill a concrete mixer with 1 metric ton of kitty litter. It has to be a metric ton, as I'd like to avoid any imperial entanglements.
That's the real trick, isn't it?
I then throw a premium cider rager for my farmer pals, encouraging them to urinate and defecate into the mixer. Bunce's exclusive diet of goose liver donuts would be a real boon here. The next morning, I'd turn on the mixer and head up to the tree. Once there, I'd dump the foul concoction right in the den opening as instructed by our good friends at the Humane Society. And for good measure, I'd fire in some of Boggis' sweaty old t-shirts via a t-shirt cannon. Tip 2. Use noise-making devices such as transistor radios. I would then switch on my radio which would be connected to a large PA system and tuned to the loudest of all radio stations. Kerrang! Tip 3. Mount shiny party balloons on sticks or poles a few feet off the ground, just outside the den entrance. So, while the foxes desperately tried to flee the fetid throng of farmer feculents and thrash metal, they'd run straight between 2 rows of birthday balloons, set up like a corridor to lead them far, far away from our farms. Tip 4. Spread capsicum-based granular repellent around the den entry. As they stagger through the distressing corridor of colourful party fun, the foxes would hear pop after pop, as my men burst the balloons, dispersing the cayenne pepper concealed inside. With the foxes now so disoriented, afraid, and lightly spiced, the most humane thing would be to put them out of their misery, which I would do happily, with my newly acquired Holland & Holland Nitro Express elephant gun. And I would sleep soundly that night, knowing that I treated these noble animals with nothing but dignity and respect.
Right, the biggest question I've got there is, really, aren't you torturing them until they have a very quick death in the end? Which isn't really very humane.
It started out humane, and I thought, yeah, if I do all these things, I may as well just put them out of their misery. So that was my thought process.
Dumping a ton of kitty litter that people have shit and piss in outside the thing, forcing them to move on. That's fucking horrendous.
That is genuinely the advice in the Humane Society, and I just thought...
Their advice is one thing, but the way you've enacted that in your own practice, interpreted it, is depraved, to say the least.
Thank you. I'll take that as a very hearty compliment.
Did you say at the end there as well, you'd use an elephant gun?
Yeah.
That just
I tell you what,
blown into absolute smithereens, surely. It'd just be a smear on the floor.
Yeah, that's
well,
it.
They won't be stealing from me anymore.
Well, you could certainly say that's going to get rid of them.
I suppose they wouldn't feel anything, would they?
No. Well, they'd feel massively depressed.
My question would be, could you demonstrate for us either urinating or defecating into a cement mixer right now?
Full of kitty litter.
It's easy, because all you need is a ladder, right?
I'd like to try.
I don't know, have you ever tried shitting off a ladder?
Not off a ladder. I've done it off a bridge.
You can go in the back at the hole at the back of the cement mixer, just hold on to the rim as you spin round. Oh, you're amazing.
I famously did it off a bridge into the river in Planet TH, so that was mission accomplished.
And nobody noticed. Sorry, residents of Planet TH.
Oh, look, it's an otter. Oh, wait a minute, that's not an otter.
Okay, Gaz, it's time for your plan. Everybody take a breath.
Yeah, what nonsense have we got lined up this week?
Is it going to be a different Bolivia this week or another South American country?
It's not that bad this week. Bean looks, sounds and acts like a bit of a South London villain. The kind of man who would have connections, unsavoury connections that match or exceed his villainous stature. He's also clearly a man of means thanks to his cider empire, and so procuring the services of a villain who exceeds his own villainous stature should not be terribly difficult. Throughout the course of the fantastic Mr. Fox, Boggis, Bunce and Bean's attempts to use technology are unsuccessful, and if any of the panel of Peril's plans feature that element, then they are clearly shit. Absolutely shit. What Bean should have done is use his connections to seek out a creature from the animal kingdom, specifically a cryptid. For those unaware, a cryptid is a creature from the animal kingdom that has yet to be accepted by mainstream science, but is believed by cryptozoologists to exist in the wild. Think Bigfoot, the Loch Ness Monster, etc. But the creature that I'm enlisting is the Beast of Bodmin Moor. Ooh. His origin has never been fully established. Some say he's a panther who escaped from a local zoo. Others, that he is an alien big cat dropped off on planet Earth by aliens. But one thing's for sure, he is big, he is a cat, and he is for hire. That's 3 things, to be fair. Once Bean has put the word out that he'll pay Beastie, as he's known to his friends and peers, a handsome sum to be rid of Mr. Fox, Kristofferson and all the gang, the man himself arrives in whatever the hell town this film is supposed to be set in. He wears a nice tweed flat cap, has a shotgun slung over his shoulder, and naturally wears a corduroy suit in finest, deepest brown. His fee is a year's supply of Fray Bentos tinned flaky pastry steak pies plus £450,000. The pies are the real deal breaker here, though, make no mistake. Beastie is a cat of means, but for some reason he has a real aversion to food shopping, preferring to include it in his fee whenever he takes a job. He's just that kind of guy. Beastie loads 2 shells into the shotgun, spins the weapon around like Arnold in Terminator 2, and hands it to Bean. "Keep hold of this for me whilst I maul these sods," he says. He then produces a katana, nunchucks, bow staff, basically all of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles weapons, and also hands them to Boggis and Bunce for safekeeping. Also, Swiss Army knife, firecrackers, and a small packet of playing cards that presumably came in a Christmas cracker. Shouldn't take long, the obsidian feline intones before trotting off down by the tree home that Foxy bought at the start of the film. Boggis, Bunce and Bean stand there looking a bit thick for a minute before Beastie begins dragging a screaming Mr. Fox from his hole. One of his arms has been severed and his face has been clawed awfully so that he can't see out of one of his eyes. Screaming he is, "Ah, my cussing arm!" Flailing around like an absolute loon, blood everywhere. It really is quite the sight. "My katana, please, Bunce or Boggis. I don't know which man is which," says our hirsute hitman. Upon being handed the blade, Beastie promptly slices a lemon in 2, which I forgot to mention he had in his pocket, and squeezes it into Foxy's wounds. Ho ho ho! That does not go down well at all. Not one bit. Then he kills him using whatever means you like, really. He can say, "Cowabunga, dude," like a TMNT, and use one of those guys' weapons. He can use the shotgun, or he can just stamp him to death, whichever you fancy. Just remember, Beast of Bodmin Moor. That's the thing. Just Google him.
Stamped to death, I'll go with.
It's actually cruel if I pick this apart. So all I'll go with is how long would it take for Mr. Fox and his friends to run up a bill of £450,000 worth of food that they've stolen versus paying that to the beast? I'm going to ignore all the rest of it just to be kind to you because it's foolish.
Price is no object to them. I think they have cold black hearts and they just want to punish the fox by any means necessary.
Okay, so it's more about revenge for them than the value of the...
That's right.
Okay, accepted.
You could probably say the same about all of the digging equipment they get as well, right? That probably isn't worth a very small amount.
Rent a digger, couple hundred a day. You know, it's not 450 grand.
Yeah.
They've got the big excavators though, haven't they? And they must be, I don't know, they must be way more than a couple hundred quid.
I'm not comparing it to the 450 grand. I'm weighing it against the monetary value of the chickens that Foxy has taken.
Right.
Even then, probably wouldn't be worth doing what they do.
Are there many big cats that are famously diggers? I can't think of any off the top of my head.
That are famously diggers?
Yeah.
Are we thinking that the foxes can just dig their way out of trouble here, away from the Beast of Bodmin Moor?
Well, I'm just thinking cats that go underground in tunnels. I can't think of any.
No.
Yeah.
House cats will. I don't know about big cats. But this is a special big cat, of course. He's a hitman.
He's a professional.
Oh, yeah, fair enough. Cheerfully withdrawn.
He would get a tuxedo on, a wetsuit over the top, put a duck on his head, and go swimming across the bay if he had to. Anything to avoid having to go in the shops.
But how does he cook his Fray Bentos pies then?
I'm not sure. How do you cook them?
Stick it in the oven.
Oh, there you go. Then he sticks it in the oven.
Apparently they're called lonely pies because mostly single lonely men eat them.
Yeah.
So I guess it kind of fits for him as a single lonely hitman.
I've been single. Never quite been lonely enough.
No, never strayed into Fray Bentos territory.
No.
Eating a few tins of cold beans, but never Fray Bentos.
Theoretically, could you eat a Fray Bentos straight from the tin? Or do you have to bake it?
Probably. I wouldn't want to.
I reckon you could, yeah.
I think it's one of those part-baked deals.
How could it still be edible?
I don't know. I can't imagine.
Why would you only part bake it? That's annoying.
It's convenient for the customer, isn't it? Because then they don't have to fully bake it.
Well, it'd be more convenient if you baked it fully and I could just eat it from a can.
Yeah, I don't know.
We need to do some research on Fray Bentos. I think we're dreadfully under-researched here.
I like the way that Frey Bentos is taking up the majority of our questioning with Gaz's plan. We should actually stop here and then just ring Frey Bentos and say, do you want to do a segment on our show?
Let's just record it anyway, and then we'll tell them we've got one, and we can use it if they want to pay us in pies.
Yeah, we could say, have you had a Frey Bentos pie recently, Lord Manly Supreme?
Whenever I get home from work and it's been a long day and I just do not feel like cooking, I just reach into the cupboard and I pull out a Frey Bentos fucking pie. And I eat it straight from the can.
I don't even cook that motherfucker.
But if it's part baked, then I will put it in an oven. But if it's ready to eat, then I will just eat it. I'll do one of those two things depending on what the pie needs.
If you get home and you open the cupboard and then the pie is already cooked, you're like, what the fuck? That pie just cook itself?
It's steaming as well. It's really weird.
Delicious cold pie with no base and just the fucking hard, moist puff pastry lid that hasn't been puffed up.
They not have a base?
No.
I didn't realise that.
I don't know. I don't think so.
No, just the lid and then meat and shit.
You get that in some restaurants, don't you? You get a pie and it just comes in the bowl and then it's got a crust. Yeah, but they call it pie.
Yeah,
it's false advertising. Really, you could sue them. Lazy pies. That's what I call them.
Yeah.
Lazy pies.
Lazy. Yeah. Fuck Frey Bentos. Have a lazy pie from Ben.
Time for my plan. Bristol City Council, the Royal Borough of Kensington and Chelsea, Hastings Environmental Health, BBC Wildlife, and even the UK government website all feature excellent resources and tips for managing fox incursions on your property. For example, one of the reasons foxes choose their habitat is soft soil, which cubs use to practice digging, as evidenced by the skill of both Kristofferson and Ash. So the farmers may wish to consider addressing this in the long term. However, in the short term, there's a need to get rid of Foxy expeditiously, and for that, we look to the fox's keen sense of smell. Odours known to drive foxes away include vinegar, which can be sprayed on your garden to deter them. However, there is a more pungent and instinctually frightening smell to the fox, and that is the urine of another male fox. This is why I propose that having caught Kristofferson, rather than leaving him locked in an apple crate begging for water, we water him a lot. Get him well and truly pissed on gallons and gallons of alcoholic apple cider until he pisses his pants at least once. Then fill him up with some more cider and then let him loose. He's been dying to tell these foxes off for years. Especially Ash. Shh. No, you shush. It's my turn, right? Now. And another thing. Repeat until he has covered the 3 farms in piss and wave goodbye to that pesky Mr. Fox. Oh yeah, also, get him to piss on your own chest so it ruins your necktie. Mr. Fox kills himself, naturally.
Craig, I put it to you that your original plan featured heavily with technology. When Gaz said technology is shit, you quickly scribbled that down based on my urine plan.
Yes, I love technology.
I think you've secretly incorporated something you quite like doing into your plan, particularly the end part.
Being pissed on my chest. Yep.
That's all you wanted. You've been storing this planet for ages, and you thought, "What's the best film?" You knew it wasn't going to come from any of us. You thought, "How can I work this into a movie?" And you thought, "Well, fox piss. Oh yeah, fucking hell, I can get it into Fantastic Mr. Fox." There we go.
You won't know when, but I promise you, there will be another plan that I will do in season 2 that will involve being pissed on.
So look forward to that, Peril Pals.
I cannot wait.
If that doesn't keep him coming back, nothing will.
Some truly diabolical schemes there, but there can be only one winner, or possibly 2. It's time to cast your votes, and please remember, you may not vote for yourself.
I have voted for Lord Manly Supreme.
I have voted for Adam.
I have also voted for Adam.
And I have voted for Adam.
Unanimous.
Oh,
Adam's
unanimous.
the winner
My
this
first
week.
win.
Oh, yeah. All right. So, Gaz, how has that affected the season 2 leaderboard?
In first place with 5 points is Craig.
Boo.
In joint second place with 3 points is Adam and myself, Gaz.
Boo.
And bringing up the rear is Lord Manly Supreme with 2 points.
Yay!
Good.
Wow.
It's kind of good because I've always wanted to be unappreciated in my own time. So in the future, when historians uncover this, they'll give it a listen and go, this guy was a freaking diabolical genius and he should have won.
Okay, so next week, Gaz will be hosting. And what are you going to put us through?
For my next pick, I've decided the sort of films that we've been having in this season so far that it's time for me to go big or go home. And I'm already home, so I suppose I've got to go big. So next week, we're going to be discussing The Dark Knight.
Ooh.
Oh.
Very
Spicy.
big. Very big indeed. Excellent.
That about does it for this episode. Thank you for listening. And if you like what you heard, please subscribe. Leave us a review on the very platform on which you're currently listening. You can follow us on Twitter and Instagram at DiabolicalPod. Next week, we'll be competing to improve on the diabolical plan of the Dark Knight. Until then, here's to our survival.
No, I was only like 11 or 12. I wasn't doing otter-sized shits at that
Well,
point.
you probably were. I tell you what, my lad, he's only 7, and he
Rat-sized, I'd
he
say.
does monster shits right now. Absolute monster shits. Scary. If you bumped into one of his turds down an alley, you'd fucking run a mile.
I'm just picturing the scene of Jaws in the Rio Carnival coming down the alley.
Big turd like that.